Yeah,
I love that
actually
you
really
are
do love this
blaming
thing.
the spilled beverage on your dog. When we both
Kirby, I don't
know-
like the tone of your voice. Why don't you come up with another topic?
That's right. Promo UPFront, money in the pit, the bullets, a full podcast.
Oh, and welcome to episode number 41 of the Promo UPFront Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, he's usually the captain of Coshocton, but today he's the captain of Cancun, the one and only Dr. Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, I generally ask, how the hell are you? But you're on vacation in Mexico on a beach, so I'm pretty sure we all know how you are.
Yeah, it's pretty excellent. We, Amy and I love to travel, and so we're just in the beginning stages of being able to do that and doing it safely. So we are really, really, really excited to be here, and and I appreciate you kind of being flexible with when we record. So thanks, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You can't spell flexible without Bill, so I'm happy to help. You know what else you can't spell without the word flexible?
What's that, Bill?
That's Promo Pulse. So you can't, because they're so flexible, and we're going to talk about that in a second. You know, we talk about Promo Pulse and where people get their ideas and inspiration information. We talk about downloading the Promo Pulse app and the million things you can do there. But one of the things I actually like, and you mentioned it, was the flexibility. One of the things they've done, and you're showing your Promo Pulse app right there, even in Mexico works, folks, even in Mexico, right?
Right.
So they won a 2021 Pyramid Award. So, you know, it's a quality product. You know, they don't just hand those out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. But did you know that Jason Oakes, who's the founder of Promo Pulse, is really one of the original tech innovators in promo, where he's been flexible creating that tech for everybody? I think you knew that, right, Kirby?
I did, but it is funny how you get, whenever you talk to Jason, he's such an innovator. You are reminded of it when you do have conversations with him. He's a smart dude.
Yeah, he is. And he created the industry's first online ordering website that won PPAI Web Awards for several years. And he was the original developer and president over at Distributor Central. So you're getting someone who is flexible enough to know that the industry is evolving, to know that technology evolves, and making sure those two marry together. And if you're not using the Promo Pulse app, boy, where have you been? You're missing out, because it is really chock full. And a lot of things say they're chock full. It's chock full of information, inspiration, and ideas. So head over to your local app store, download Promo Pulse right now. You're not going to be sorry you did. Now, Kirby, I want to thank you for having the courage to do this podcast while you're vacationing in your yellow hat. You have the Promo UPFront topic this week. What would you like to discuss as you sit there longingly looking at a Miller Lite beer that you will be having about 5 seconds after we finish this broadcast?
Absolutely. So, last week we were a little, what was it, Salty Kirby and Bitter Bill, or
one or the other, or both? Yeah.
And so this week I thought, doing Promo UPFront, we'd do something a little bit more on the fun and positive side. And obviously I'm in a pretty fun and positive mood. So I thought we did this, who knows, a year ago, 2 years ago, where we talked about our brand crushes within the industry. Mm-hmm. And I thought it might be fun to kind of revisit that. The companies that we admire, that we enjoy following, that kind of inspire us. And so I thought we'd do that, if that's all right. And again,
I think that's great.
I'm bringing it on you. So if you want, I can go first, or you can go first if you have some off the top of your head.
Do you want both distributors and suppliers and service providers? Or just
sure.
Whatever I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Anybody you're thinking of. I've got, like I said, I've got both, or all three on my list.
Okay.
So.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do let's go distributor, supplier, service provider, and you go first with your distributor list.
Okay. So, and I'm doing this from a different location here, so give me a minute. Okay. So the first one that pops into my head, and I've got a couple distributors on my list, but Social Good Promotions. I just, again, I love their business model. Roger Burnett and Kara Keister, and the work they're doing, the idea that they've built an entire promotional products distributorship around doing good inspires me. So that's my first one.
I the first one that pops into my head, who I think is really doing some cool things, is Brandito, Kevin Mullaney down in North Carolina. Just really cool stuff that they're doing, and he's such a positive guy. If you've ever had a conversation with him, ever had a just any sort of interaction with him, it's overwhelmingly positive, and I love the name Brandito. I really do. And they do some really, really cool stuff. So I'm going to say Brandito.
Cool. And I've got one more distributor on my list, and it's kind of the OG of doing good, and that's Fairwear. Denise Taschereau and her partner there. As I was coming up with people who I just like, they inspire me to do better. They have a totally different mindset of mine. And they are people who make me think. And you and I talk about this a lot, whether it's online or offline, about I love people who make me think differently. And Fairwear is one of those companies.
Yeah, I actually had Fairwear on my brain. So I'm glad you brought it up. Denise Taschereau and her business partner, they do some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. The other distributor I'm going to bring up is Promo Shop. Memo Kayon and his team over there on the West Coast, Chris Robinson, part of that group. Very forward thinking, but also always maintains that West Coast vibe. And I love how they kind of really stick to that. And, the phrase Promo Shop, when you think about it, probably doesn't sound like the most exciting thing in the world, but they've really cobbled that together into something that's really cool and very uniquely them. I know normally we'd be mentioning the Brand Fuels world, but we mention them all the time. So I think we intentionally went to other places, but Brand Fuel, I know I will speak for you here as an honorable mention.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So do you have any suppliers? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go first on supplier. I'm going to go SNS Activewear.
Okay.
I think what they've done, normally on these type of lists, we skew more toward the smaller and boutique-y. I think SNS Activewear and what they've done in terms of aggregating brands over the last few years, opening distribution centers so they can get product out quickly. They've assembled one of the most talented sales forces that I know of in the industry. I can go down the list, your Megan Zezos, your Heather Dixons, your Meg Erbers, are just all over the place. And so I think SNS Activewear really pops to my mind when I think of a forward-thinking supplier that's not looking 6 months down the road, but 12 months down the road.
Love it. That's a good one. This one, the first company when I started making this list that popped into my head was Starline. I like their team, obviously Brian Porter and Brian DeBottis and John Norris and that whole team over there I love, but it's funny because it's the product line I seem to carry, right? Like whether it's their drinkware, whether it's their bags, literally their Bluetooth, all the technology stuff, that's one that immediately popped into my head. So Starline.
Okay. That's a good one. So one I'll mention that'll probably surprise a few people, especially if we looked at social media last week, is Numo. Despite the fact that I don't love how they targeted a specific competitor in their April Fool's joke, Melissa McCauley and her team, and I know Melissa's all cheesed off at me. Well, it's okay, fine. It doesn't change the fact that she is one of the most, if not the most creative force in the industry. And, I'm an adult enough to say, hey, I can put that aside.
Yeah,
and
two things can be true, right?
Absolutely. I know she's a little irked or whatever, but that's fine. The fact is they do some super creative work and they are setting trends in the industry as opposed to following them. And that's a very rare thing on the supplier side and on the distributor side for that matter.
Yeah, I agree with that because, I think when you're doing creative work, it's a subjective thing. So not everybody's going to love every single thing you do. So you're right. They're amazing.
Doing creative work takes thick skin.
It does. All right. One more for me. I've got several others, but I don't want to belabor this, but Maple Ridge Farms is one that, I'm sure. Okay. You're right.
I'm crossing it off my list.
Okay. Sorry. Maple Ridge Farms. First of all, they've just got a great product line. They've got and they've managed, I think, to make food not just a holiday kind of piece. And then just their social media presence, their team over there. I really like the folks over at Maple Ridge.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Maple Ridge Farms. That's a great one. I'll mention one more. Okay. It's All Made, Ryan Moore and his team over there. Again, we talked earlier about sustainability and dedication to doing good with Roger Burnett and Social Good Promotions and with Denise Taschereau over at Fairwear. You could put Ryan Moore in that category, what he does at All Made in terms of upcycling and recycling and doing good is pretty amazing, with one of the highest quality shirts we have in the industry. So Ryan Moore and Allmade's definitely on that list.
Absolutely. I love that one. Final one for me. So Promo Pulse is the sponsor. I had them on my list, so I would just say that they were on my list. But then the Common SKU is an obvious one for me. I realized as I was packing for this trip that literally 60% of the t-shirts and gear that I have says Common SKU on it. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm not exaggerating at all. The other day I was sitting on my porch. I had Common SKU joggers on. I had a Common SKU t-shirt, and then I had a Common SKU hat. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like I should at least get some Hasseman marketing gear.
But it works.
Yeah, so that
it works. No, I think that's a great service provider. I think another service provider that I think of in the industry that's doing some great things is ASI, which
funny. They were on my list too. Yeah, that's a good one. You
normally wouldn't think of a large, big company like that, but I think that under the leadership of Tim Andrews, they've done a really nice job of kind of seeing where the audience is moving towards. And I think that goes a lot to the editorial staff, Michelle Bell and her team, and what they're doing on social media. And that's a lot to do with Vin Driscoll and Melissa Newman, who really are knocking it out of the park on social. And it seems like for 18 years that I've been in the industry, I'm in the industry 20 years. My first 18 years, it seems like ASI very much sat on the sidelines of those type of things. I think over the last 2 years, they've become not only involved in conversations, but now they're driving them. And I think that's an important thing for a large, respected organization to do. And so I'm going to have to say ASI. So honorable mention of Promo Pulse. I was going to say them too.
Yeah. So, but I would say you articulated that better than I would have, because I had them on my list, but I was like, it's one of those things where I was like, I'm not sure why I'm saying this. I just feel like they're top of mind for me. But what you said is exactly right. So well done, my friend. That's
awesome.
That's a good list.
That is a good list, and well done on the Promo Upfront section of the podcast. Now, I've got something I'd like to talk about, Kirby.
Awesome.
I've got just so many things here. I've got so many things. Let's start with Patagonia. Have you seen this, Kirby?
I did see this, yeah.
Patagonia is no longer allowing logos or co-branding on their apparel. So starting May 1st, orders must remain blank and shipped directly to the distributor or to the consumer. Now, if they think that's going to stop people from using third-party decoration on them, that's another discussion entirely. But I thought what was interesting, look, that's their decision, right? But did you see the reasoning why?
I didn't. I saw the headline and I saw a couple people post this morning, so I haven't had a chance to read it.
Okay. So I'm going to read their statement from their website, and then I'll sum it up succinctly for you. Okay. So from their website, what they said is, what we've learned is that adding an additional non-removable logo reduces the lifespan of the garment, often by a lot, for trivial reasons. People change jobs, and the extra logo makes for an awkward regift. People tend to not pass on logoed gear down to their kids, and not everyone wants to be an advertisement on weekends, even if they're proud to go into work on weekdays. The result? Perfectly good gear ends up being forgotten in the closet, or worse, gets tossed in the trash. So the overriding, what they're saying is it's meant to increase the lifespan of the garments. I've got some opinions on this, Kirby. I'd love to hear yours.
Yeah. So here's one of the things that I would say is that I admire about Patagonia is they are a company that is willing to take a stand. And just like we talked about creativity, when you take a stand, I'm not always going to agree with you on it. And I think it's not wildly surprising that I think this is dumb. And I mean, literally, this is my first impression of this. So not dumb, I guess, per se, but just the idea of, first of all, it's going to happen. So kudos on, and number two, I would respectfully disagree that it decreases the value of the, now I can't speak to the longevity if you pierce the fabric, if you're saying that sort of thing. Of course they have their logo on it, so I'm not sure how that makes it.
I don't think that was it. It was the addition of somebody else's logo, and then they may change jobs, or they're not going to pass it on, and it makes for an awkward regift. Anyway.
Yeah. So I think, and the, if you want to get really creative, I actually saw, I think it was Howard Heaton posted, the creative distributor will do this and then put pins or pull zips or something like that on it, and not have to. To me, they've taken a stand. Good for them. I respectfully disagree.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do love the fact that they stand up for what they believe in. I think this is misguided.
Yeah.
It's one thing if, look, we don't want other logos on our products because it's about Patagonia.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I would
actually
actually
respect that more.
understand that. I would too. And so what you're saying, look, no one regifts clothing that has a logo on it, regardless of the quality of the logo, to their kids.
Yeah.
No one's regifting that, period. So I think that the discussion's just weird. I just think they really just want to get out of the business. Now, I think what's happened though in the past is they've had some bad decorations ruin some apparel. And I'm sure that has come back and they don't want to be part of that. That I understand too. It just seems like something weird to stand on. And to me, they're standing on the moral high ground of we're trying to be sustainable, and putting a logo on a piece of apparel reduces sustainability because it reduces the lifespan. I strongly disagree with that. So I don't know what the real initiative is. I have some suspicions, but you better get your orders in by May 1st, folks. So right around the corner.
Absolutely.
You know what else is right around the corner? Actually, right around the corner of my desk.
Okay, I can't wait to hear about this.
This is the product of the week, Kirby. And this is one of my weird favorite products. So this is something I actually use on the weekends as I'm sitting out in my beloved backyard, smoking all manner of barbecue and things like that and listening to music. I love a good beverage with me, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the 16-ounce Game Day tailgate cup from Alpha Broder Prime. It looks like a solo cup, but it's reusable. It's part number MG207, and I love it. It's got a great little place for decoration here, and it has that solo cup feel, but it's double plastic insulated, so it keeps it colder a lot longer. And plus, if the dog knocks it over, it doesn't break, and I love that. I'll cry over the spilled beverage, but I can use the cup again. So again, that's the 16-ounce Game Day tailgate cup from Alpha Broder Prime, MG207.
Yeah, I love that you are blaming the spilled beverage on your dog. When we both
Kirby, I don't like the tone of your voice. Why don't you come up with another topic?
All right, cool. So this is something that I've been sort of struggling with, but I'm learning to embrace. So, so one of the things that I think you and I both know is that if you want to be good at one thing, it's really, you can't be good at everything. You can't do all things, right?
Right.
As much as we'd love to. And so when you combine that with the sort of the proliferation of content in our industry, there have been a bunch of people who are creating some cool podcasts and blogs and all kinds of great content in our industry. And while I think you and I both create a decent amount of content, other people can comment on that. But while I'm doing that, because it's a priority, I'm really struggling to keep up consuming content. And because of that, I don't feel like I'm as in touch with some of the conversations in our industry as I'd love to be. I was wondering, I guess, do you struggle with this? And, I don't know, suggestions on how I can make more time to listen to podcasts. I don't know.
So I guess the way I look at it is this way. Yeah, to answer your question, I do struggle keeping up with it. It's not just, it's running a business. I'm not in my car as much, which is where I usually listen to the podcasts and things like that. But I'll be very candid. There are some that I really like. And honestly, there are some that are terrible. I'm sorry, or at least for me. And that's not saying the people who are putting effort into it are terrible. It doesn't resonate with me. There are some podcasts I like, and there's some podcasts I don't. There's blogs I like, there's blogs I don't. And I'm sure there's people that could say the same thing about the content you and I create. So this is not, I'm just saying, so I think for individual people, it's kind of like Masters on Moving Day. We just had the Masters over the weekend, and Moving Day is on Saturday. It's where if you look at content, you separate the wheat from the chaff. What the cream always rises to the top. And so I think we make time for content that either inspires us, educates us, amuses us, entertains us. And if it doesn't do that, those numbers will speak for themselves. And so, I do have I do have a challenge consuming the content. I think I don't make dedicated time for it. I'll be honest with you. By the time I'm done with my day, I don't want to think about the promotional products industry for a while. I want to break from it. I don't want to know what's going on. So I don't know if I'm missing out on conversations. You felt like you said you felt like you're missing out on conversations. I don't think I feel that. I don't know. I just don't feel that.
Yeah. And again, I think your point, maybe I would stay a little bit different, is like some of the stuff is not produced for me. And I think that's okay too.
Yeah, you're not the target audience.
Right. And there have been, and I would say this on the other side, there's some stuff that I actually really do enjoy that I can't, I just don't,
Correct.
I don't have the bandwidth. And I'm
correct.
For a while, I was sort of apologizing for it. And now I'm just like, yeah, I'll get to it when I can get to it.
Yeah. Or I won't. I agree.
Yeah,
There's a lot. Look, I'll be very candid. You produce a lot of content. I can't.
No.
You produce more content than anybody in the industry. You do. You're the king of content. I'm the captain of consistency. That's who we are. Okay. But I can't keep up with all of your content. And so I would love that. You're one of my best friends, and I can't tell you I read all your blogs. No. You know what? I don't. I can't tell you I listen to all your podcasts. You know why? I don't. I can't. Yeah. So when I see a blog you post or from someone else who I know produces good content, if that title grabs me, I will absolutely read it. If there's an interesting guest or I feel like there's interesting conversations that are going to be had on a podcast, yes, I will make time for it. But it gets increasingly hard to make time. It's a very noisy environment out there. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and again, I think it's sort of the overarching thing for me is I'm picking a lane, right? The idea that I am creating a lot of content, I'm doing that on purpose. Well, if I'm doing that, I can't do this other thing. And so I think that's okay, but it's hard for me to get my head around sometimes.
I will say this, I mean, maybe this is the way I would look at it. As a content creator, as you are, as I am, I focus more on creating the content than I do consuming it, quite frankly. Yeah. So that's basically it. All right, Kirby, you like automobiles, don't you?
I do.
Okay. Are you familiar with Fiat? The brand
I'm familiar
Fiat
with the brand,
from Italy. They are introducing a co-branded line of cars with Google. Have you seen this?
You know, I feel like I've heard rumblings about this, but no, I haven't read into it.
Okay. They're called the Hey Google line of vehicles that'll feature Google tech throughout. They'll have some Google branding on the doors and windows, things like that. It'll look like the Google dot, Google logos on the side view mirrors. And what I love about this, they're also giving a welcome kit. So you buy a Fiat, that's one of these Google co-branded vehicles, and you get a branded tote bag, adhesive to apply to the Google Nest hub frame, a welcome letter with setup instructions for the vehicle, and a branded key cover. I love this, and we talk about this on occasion, and I think we're going to see some real velocity happening in the next 6 to 18 months of co-branding of things that you normally wouldn't think of. And I really love this with Fiat. It's a very forward-thinking thing to co-brand with Google. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Plus, for our industry, it's great because there's a merch opportunity.
Yeah. Well, again, so I'm with you. I had not dug into this. I actually think what I was thinking about is I think Apple is talking about partnering with Volkswagen maybe. So I think that's really interesting to take two sort of powerhouses in their own right, being able to partner on something that would have been really difficult for them to do on their own, right? Google to build a car, I mean, I'm sure they could do it. They're mammoth, but the idea that you would partner with somebody who knows that area honestly makes me feel safer, right? Because you and I've talked about, I'm actually all in on the self-driving cars. Bring it on.
Me too.
But I love the idea that they're partnering with, a car company to do it. That's really interesting to me. And yes, the idea of putting those two powerhouses together, of course, there's a merch opportunity. We always say there's not a mission until there's the merch. And so if those two put it together, you almost want to buy the car just to see what they'd have in their swag.
Yeah, and I think the lesson is what you can do as a distributor is you can look at organizations in your local town and say, I wonder what they could collaborate on, and maybe you can be the deal maker. I mean, we always talk about how do we rise above just being a purveyor of logoed stuff. Right. That's how you do it. You take two clients that you have and look at the possible synergies they might have to create something magical in your local area, your state, whatever it is. It doesn't happen easily. It's not always obvious, but why not start thinking that way? That's the stuff even if nothing ever comes from it, the fact that you bring it up to your clients, they will think, wow, this person's always working for me, whether I'm buying stuff from them or not. That to me, I think there's all these opportunities. Yes, hopefully you can sell some merchandise, but more importantly, you can really create some synergies that will really put you in the forefront of their mind.
I love it. That's a great idea, Bill. Really, really good. And it's one of the things I talk about when I say about like give first. Like when you have that mindset and are looking at it from a servant's perspective, it's amazing the opportunities. You'll see opportunities to give back and to write checks and to see problems, but you're going to see problems that can be solved on behalf of your customers that you can do from a profit perspective. And so by having that mentality, it allows you to see opportunities that others don't.
It does. And you can create them. All right, Kirby, we have time for more, or you want to go?
I say we do game, man. Let's get.
You want to go on vacation? All right, Kirby.
I've got beers right here.
I'm very jealous of that. All right, Kirby. So I don't know about you. This is one of my favorite times of year. My favorite time of year is spring and fall for very different reasons. So weather is a big part of it, but one of the things I love about spring is baseball, and specifically minor league baseball. So I live in a town with a minor league team, the Nashville Sounds. I get to go there a lot. It's a wonderful family thing to do. There's nothing better than a beer and a dog at the ballpark.
Yeah.
So as I was thinking about the game, I thought, you know what I love about baseball, minor league baseball, is they're so creative, not only with their promotions, which we know, but their nicknames. So this is the return of rapid fire, Kirby. There are no wrong answers. You're going to tell me which minor league baseball team you prefer based on their nickname.
Okay.
No wrong answers. Are you ready?
Okay. I do love minor league baseball, by the way.
The Omaha Storm Chasers or Kannapolis Intimidators.
Oh, the Storm Chasers.
Okay. The San Antonio Missions. Love that name because there's a lot of missions in San Antonio. Or the Albuquerque Isotopes.
The Isotopes. That's fun to say.
Absolutely. From The Simpsons. That's right. Right in your area, Kirby. The Toledo Mud Hens or the Akron Rubber Ducks.
Oh, I'm going to go Mud Hens. And so after the podcast, I'll tell you a funny story about that.
Okay. Nashville. Here in my area, the Nashville Sounds or the Chattanooga Lookouts.
I'm going to go Lookouts.
Wrong. It is the Nashville Sounds, sir. It is the Nashville Sounds that has the guitar pick right here in the logo. Yep. So very disappointing for you there. The Binghamton, New York Rumble Ponies or the Hartford Yard Goats.
Both are awesome. I'm going to go Yard Goats.
Yeah. I actually, real quick aside, I went down a rabbit hole as I was creating the game. I bought like 6 new caps based on some of these logos, and I'm not joking.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right. The El Paso Chihuahuas or the Amarillo Sod Poodles.
Dude, I immediately smiled when I heard Chihuahuas, but Sod Poodles, that's amazing. I'm going Sod Poodle.
All right. The Sugarland Skeeters or the Savannah Sand Gnats.
Sand Gnats.
Good call. The Round Rock Express or Frisco Rough Riders.
Rough Riders. The
Columbia Fireflies or the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Going Iron Pigs. Essentially, I'm just going with the last one. I don't mean to.
The Modesto Nuts or the Lansing Lug Nuts.
The Lug Nuts. There's just more nuts to love.
The Traverse City Beach Bums or the Cedar Rapids Kernels with a K as in corn.
I'm going to go Beach Bums.
Okay. One of my favorites, the Montgomery Biscuits or the New Orleans Baby Cakes.
I'm going to go biscuits just so I can say no risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah, I will be. You'll be seeing me wearing a Montgomery Biscuit hat in very short order.
Okay.
The Clinton Lumber Kings or the Bakersfield Train Robbers. Very oddly specific name on the Bakersfield
I'm going to go Train Robbers.
All right, 3 more, Kirby. You're doing great. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp or the Fort Myers Mighty Mussels.
I'm going to go Mighty Mussels there. I'm going Mighty Mussels just because I think you can have a lot of fun with the entendre there.
Okay. Hickory Crawdads or the Norwich Sea Unicorns.
I'm going to go Crawdads.
Good call. Last one. This is a tough one, Kirby. The Richmond Flying Squirrels or the Huntsville Trash Pandas, which is a nickname for a raccoon.
I'm going to go Flying Squirrels on this one.
All right, I would have gone Trash Pandas, but your answer has been logged. It is final. There are no give backs.
Okay.
we have to move on. But we have to move on to, I think it's time. I feel like I need to check the Promo Pulse app. I feel like there's probably things that have happened in the industry as we've been recording,
right?
That we should probably talk about. So, and so I'm going to go right after we get done with this podcast. I'm going to hop right back on the Promo Pulse app, and we talk about how it's such a great place. It's right there in the palm of your hand. You get your ideas, inspiration, information. It's international now. Clearly, we've proven that. You're in Mexico. And, it's driven by Jason Noakes, who's won a 2021 PPAI a Pyramid Award. So the quality's there, but he has been a tech innovator from day one. He created the industry's first online ordering website that won PPAI Web Awards. And he was the original developer and president over there at Distributor Central, who are still doing great things. So if you haven't taken a minute to download the Promo Pulse app, or if you've downloaded it and you haven't checked it in a while, you might want to think about re-engaging with that. I think you'll be very happy that you did. Kirby, it's time to end this podcast, so you can go ahead and enjoy time on the beach with your bride. Thanks for doing this internationally today.
Thanks, buddy.
That's right.